Welcome back to Duro3 YouTube channel. In this video we're having a look over a CDE Ham2 rotator and controller. I am refurbishing and upgrading. This video will be probably in maybe four or five short section videos, and I'll join them all together. So yeah, I just thought I'd show you what's going on. I've actually stripped down the controller and I've already installed my rocker switch. I've also reinstalled a new calibration potentiometer. I've also installed my LED support and two left and right actuators in there. I've already done the mods for the actuators, so I pull out the brake actuator, and basically I'm putting an auto brake actuator in and release it. So basically I'll start that again. So we only have two switches. They go in like that. They'll be screwed down. They'll be going on to the new micro switches that are inside there, which I'll do later on. So the LEDs are just there, brake left and right. I've also replaced the back panel. So I pulled the original back panel off. As you can see, it's rusty there, and the back was a bit manky and whatnot on the back. It was the front was in pretty good condition. The actual chassis itself is in pretty good condition, but the back panel was very average, so that got removed. And plus the rust was actually starting to migrate up onto the sub chassis here, so that had to go. And plus I wanted to put a new stainless steel backing on, and put my IAC socket in, and put a cinch plug in, and have the normal calibration switch for the meter on the back, even an earth bolt, and this is another port for other bits and pieces. So yeah, so I just thought I'd do a quick run through of what I've done so far. So basically all the mods have been done, and basically there will be the brake delay, my new brake delay board, which has 3 or 5 second delay by the two capacitors. That will be going on the bottom side, be mounted up in here, like that. When it focuses, focus. So that will be mounted there. Oh, sorry, wrong way around. I'll get it the right way in a minute. That way around. Wiring them very short, going up to the micro switches which are in there. I was going to put one of my new PCBs in, but I've got a prototype that I did for my new PCB, so I'm going to use this prototype one. It's going to be mounted in. It's going to be mounted onto the back of the meter, which will be sitting just in there. And I've actually done a little mod to the back of this because my one sits back a bit further with the new other components. This one has an LED output, has the AC input, and we have an LED output, and I'll have LED illumination on the display. So the meter has been, I've got to finish cleaning the meter and everything up. Someone put sticky stuff on the top here, and they had the bulb sitting here. It's amazing it didn't melt the thing. They had just about touching the lens, so not good. So I've got to finish cleaning that up, and that will be ready to go. The original transformer will be going back in again, but I change out the other transformer, which is this one here. There's the original one. Too much higher volts, too high a volts I should say, for how I drive my PCBs, because I've got a bridge rectifier in here and a 12 volt voltage regulator, so we don't want any more than 35 volts, and at 26 volts plus that those transformers are, it's getting too close to the threshold and it can burn them out. So I use this, ready to replace this with this one here. So that one there is ready to go. Basically, as you can see, I have a pile of stuff that was removed. This is how it looks inside. The motor start capacitor was removed because that's going to be going, not this particular one, I'll be replacing, there's a motor start capacitor, so that's now gone. I'll be keeping this for something else, but I'll be putting a better one in the actual rotator. We have these 3 brown, yuck, now the actual direction switch and brake switches. We have there's the globe, there's the limit switch, there's the limit switch assembly. I'll be reusing some of those in this one, and the spacers and whatnot. And we had, then there's the their early version of the momentary push-in for calibration. You press and hold and turn it in for calibration. Very interesting idea. They just put a slide switch on the back of this potentiometer, and there's a mess of wiring and stuff. And there's the bulb. They wrapped the bulb up. They took it off the little clip that was there, and then that was laying directly on top of the meter. I'm going, okay, it's amazing it didn't melt it. So there's all the rest of the sort of stuff that I've pulled off to the side, and basically I can salvage out a reasonable quality terminal block, so that can be kept as spares, and because we've got all the rest of the spares and bits and pieces to hold the meter in, and all the screws and bits and pieces. So yeah, so all this is all relative. On the bottom of the direction switches, I put a 2 M6 washers over top of where the button sits in, because I'll having two micro switches sitting side by side. So I'm basically going to move these together like that, and basically this will just activate, and I'll be putting a delay in this here as well. So you'll have a delay switch in one of these. So one will be delayed for the direction, and the brake will come on first. So it'll go click click. That's how that one will go. As I said, I didn't say that. So the housing has been hit and smashed and bashed. There's a massive big dent here, and it's folded. You probably can't see it, and it's very average and whatnot. So looks like it had an arc going across here somewhere. But you know, it's very average. Put the back over there. So the bottom was average again. I would have to do more work to it and whatnot, but it's actually got a bit of rust coming in the sides here. So I've had a spare plastic cover version. Not that I'm a big fan of the plastic cover versions, and I've got my new rubber feet in it. In this one, these are the push-through versions, and I've cleaned them all up. That's in better condition than the other one, and it's plastic top and bottom. So as usual, it's got a few scratches here and there, but it doesn't look too bad. So basically, this is a quick run through of this part, and I'll be back in part 2 when I get things more progressed. So yeah, all good. I shall catch you in part 2. Bye. Okay, welcome back. Okay, this is part 2 of the CDE Ham2 controller upgrade. Okay, where do we start? Okay, let's see. I've actually installed the dual well, okay, I'll start again. I've removed the brake lever and repositioned the 2 direction levers, and installed my new dual action micro switches. So we have here. So we have dual action. So we brake first, and then direction. Brake first, direction. Brake first, direction. Click, click. Okay, I've also installed. I've also installed. You can see the light flaring out here. Backings. Can't see it properly. There we are. LED mounting plate. There's a little plate behind it. It's in plastic, and that mounts my 3 LEDs. The center one is for the brake release, and we have left and right, and they just push straight in through there. We have the little LED here, a little 3mm one. It'll be coming from the switch at the back here to let you know when you're in calibrate mode, and this, so when you're in calibrate mode, the little LED will come on, and so people don't make a mistake. I've installed the power switch. This is illuminated, so it's a bezel in there. I've installed. Oh, there we go. Back over. Okay, so when we look at the hold this. This is my dual action micro switches. So basically that's linked straight across, and we have, this is the direction here, each side, and the brake is in the middle. And these ones here have an actuator on them, which just gives this one to activate first, and then the other one will activate second. So I've also made a little chopped a little one of the original PCBs that was burnt out, and I was able to salvage the resistor diode network for the direction LEDs, and the brake as well. We don't use the brake one. I've installed my brake delay PCB, so it's installed. Let me jump back over again. I've also put a hole protection piece around the hole here so your wires don't get graunched. I've installed the power PCB, display PCB I should say, and I've installed the main PCB. The back panel is in. I don't remember if I already saw this before. So I've got the numbered cinch plug, we have the earth bolt, and we have the fused IEC socket, and the actual normal calibrate switch will be in here when I get it back in stock again. So we're moving forward. It's gradually getting there, so slow and steady. I did mention before that the person had the globe laying on the lens, and it was actually well, it was stuck on with some tape, and I'd actually thought that actually melted the actual top of this because I had a hard time getting it off, but it all cleaned off and there's no heat damage to the actual meter. Phew! I dodged a bullet there. So basically this meter is in good condition. Other than that, the screws are a bit loose, but I'm going to put a few nuts on those to tighten them up so the nuts always are loose because it doesn't use them anyway, so they just wobble a bit. So I'll put some nuts on there to hold them up, get them all happening. And also I painted the actual front bezel. This one is normally only half painted, and this one's held in by springs. A little clip comes through here onto the back of the meter, so the meter sits in here. It sits like that. A little lever goes in through the side and it's held back by a spring. Early models used to put a screw into the back of the front panel, which was a bit nasty, so as you can see that. Just going to go in there, really nice. And then I'll be mounting my LED up the top. So gradually moving forward and getting things happening slowly. So basically, yeah, we're just going quickly with this thing. We go direction switch, brake, direction, brake, direction. Much easier. And then, you know, the LEDs will be showing. Oh, you can probably see it from the bottom actually. Oh, here, see it from this side. If we get enough light in there. There's a little panel. It steps down. It's got a step in it to get over the chassis section there, and has holes in it. It has a square hole in it for the little the levers to go through. So yeah, it's and it just all it does is mounts in a slightly different location. You can see where the original holes were there, and there. And I sort of go a certain distance onto the side here, and basically remount them. So there we go. That's a little mod that I do, and basically end up with dual action switches, and you haven't got to drill holes in the front panel to hold your house the LEDs. So there's no mounting in these ones. So the later models had all the holes drilled in on the top. Underneath, had them drilled underneath, and they had put the cover over it, but they just fill them in. They would not, they wouldn't be actually active to the front. And then the later models, they just punched a little hole out. So yeah, so it's all good. So we're gradually moving forward, and yeah, what else have I done? I cleaned up the bottom panels and everything. And good old Mr. Sheen, a bit scratchy, but better in condition than what the metal one was. So these are all been cleaned up a bit. So in the tops, and you can actually see where the heat. Someone put the cover on the wrong way. So there's your little heat protector there, and someone put the cover on the wrong way. And you actually can see it here. That's where the bulb actually was sitting. So it's sitting so far forward. Sitting in here, it was still so close to this. It was like, I'm amazed they didn't, at least heat rose, I suppose, at least it didn't damage the actual physical, the lens itself, because that goes crazed and looks all really terrible when it happens. And they didn't damage the top that much. It's only got a very mild burn. So all good skis. So there we go. I shall see you in part 3, I suppose, when I get a bit more done. Catch ya. Bye. Welcome back to the CDE Ham2 controller rebuild, upgrade, and everything else. I made a bit of a boo-boo in the last video, I wanted to use the original transformer and rewire the whole thing and run it a different way, and I forgot that these things do not like being left on. The original way these are wired up is the brake actually turns on the 240 volts, in this case 240 volts of these transformers, so they don't stay on all the time. With my brake delay, I need to leave it turned on all the time. By the way, these things trip out if they're left on, especially at 240 volts. Probably not too bad at 220, but at 240 they actually overheat, and that heat sensor right there, that trips out. It goes right to the inside, it trips out, and the whole thing turns off, and you've got nothing. So that, and God, I just noticed this. Jesus, it's not even straight. Lamination's not even straight in the bloody thing. Check that out. Whatever. So this is now out, and I put in a toroidal transformer. This is a 160 VA, 25 volts at 3.2 amps per wind. This has 2 sets of winds, so it'll be 6.4 amps. Exactly what these rotators need. I have epoxied the center. In doing so, what I had to do was use the original top plate, which normally goes here, which sandwiches down. I'll put it on the bottom, put the gasket on, and dent this. You can see there's a bit of a dent there. So, because this how it's been on the bottom now is at the dent. I then epoxy the top, and this one's been drilled. As you can see, the hole's been drilled. I get there, and this has actually been modified a little bit, dented off the side here because this sits off center. I put a little package, which just happens to be some good old Velcros in there to pack it up again, so it's nice and high, not too low. And this has actually been double-sided taped and glued down on the inside of the rotator here. While I go over this way, I have actually wired up some of the stop flaring out, some of the wiring of the brake delay. I've also wired up the little baby PCB for the LEDs, and if you look down in there, the LEDs are installed. And I've also, and I'll take it the front here. Now, we're looking from the front here, we get some light in the right direction. You can see, or coming closer maybe. You can see the LEDs in here, maybe more, less flare. I have blue LEDs, hard to get hold of, blue LEDs for direction, and the automatic brake, I have a red one. And also I have put in the little 3mm LED for the calibration illumination, so calibration acknowledgement, I should say. We can't really see it, but there he is right there, sitting in there. That's why the actual potentiometer for the calibration is off the side, so I can get that in. So we are moving forward. We went one step back to go 2 steps forward, as usual, way things go. So now I can install the much better transformer. Toroidal transformers like inductive loads. So these things sit here all bloody day and they don't get hot at all. They don't even make, these things make noise and make all sorts of things and go crazy, and they make all sorts of noise. These things sit here and just hum away, and they don't even hum away. They don't even know they're going. Weight wise, they're probably much this, but way better transformer. Way better transformer for these inductive loads. So there we go. So that's what I'm putting in, and I think that'll do for this video. Oh, I'll also put in another earth bolt here, just to make sure that the earth bolt is linked from the back of the chassis. I've actually come through and I'll put it to here because then I need to run the the 25 volts off to here for the brake and everything. So, and of course that's actually attached. Will be attached. The actual 25 volts will be attached on this. It goes to ground on all of these. So that's what these here are for, and then I'll be wired up into for the motor and everything. So we'll stop that flaring out. So okay, we're moving forward, and probably can't see the still can't see the low. Yeah, they'll show up when we actually physically get them get it all happening there. When we've got it running, you'll probably see the little blue LEDs working. Okay, rightio. 1 step forward, 2 step back, or let's say 1 step back and 2 steps forward. That's how it goes, something like that. We're moving forward gradually. Okay. Right, I shall see you in part 4 of this rebuild. Bye. Okay, welcome back, 03 YouTube channel. This is part 4, I think, lost track, of the CDE HyGain Ham2 controller upgrades. Okay, everything is now been done. I might take a quick swing around. LED display illumination is in with a little cover shield over it. I've got all the wiring done all the way through. It's all been tested. Yep, there we go. I'm going to turn him over. Brake delay board's in. I've got all that mounted up in here. Everything's done there. LEDs are in for the, as you can probably see, we've got blue for direction. These are upside down, of course, and then red for the brake, which stays on all the time. We have the little 3mm LED here for the calibration, when you're in calibration mode. Well, you might be able to see there, we actually can see the blue LEDs now. Blue, red and blue. And all dual switches. I've actually done a bit of work to the bezel. It doesn't move around anymore. I put some packers around the inside of the bezel to stop from moving. They just move everywhere, these things. Well, they are what they are. So that's happening. Yeah, so everything's ready to go. It's been tested and whatnot. So basically, I'm going to basically chuck it in its new casing when I figure out which way it goes. When I remember which way it goes. I think it goes this way, I think. No, wrong way. That way. Because I have got a little mod that I do to the side of these plastic casings just to make them look a little bit better. Some mightn't agree, but I do. I like it. So I've got these stainless steel, 3mm stainless steel covers for this here. Now I've drilled out and re-tapped these holes to M4 metric, as I do, because I'm not a big fan of the Imperial stuff, because I don't have an Imperial, so it's got to be metric, otherwise it doesn't happen. So basically, this little this is stainless steel. This is in the right place, have I? No, I went the wrong way. There we go. It's just when I get the holes lined up here. Now I probably could have gone slightly thinner in the material, but oh well. It was when I was doing some work with the. This has been laser cut, so basically we were playing around with designs and stuff when I first started doing some stuff with this bloke, and this just means it just looks just a little bit more smarter. That's good English. More smarter, much more smarter like. When I get the screws in the holes, I'll be right. Oh, I did it up tight, didn't I? That was stupid. I'll get it right in a minute. There we go. And stainless steel M4 screws as well. So stainless steel on stainless steel. There we go. And that does look a bit more smart, doesn't it? To the other side. That means you just can't physically take it off hilly-nilly. I should actually polish it up a little bit, but we'll get to that later on. I thought, well, why not? I've got these here, and may as well put them on. Makes the plastic case just look a little bit better. This one probably could have been a bit drilled out a little bit. I mean, tapped out a bit harder. I'll get it right in a minute. So let's just. go, we're nearly there. One more, and it just means it's just finishes them off. I've had a feeling that the very early versions might have had this, or if this case was used for something else or whatever. So yeah, I'm not 100% sure, but it looks like it's meant to have something there. Maybe there was a similar thing on it in the early days, or this casing's probably used for something else, and they adapted it for this. So there we go. It's all stainless steel down the side, just makes it look really good. Around to the back, with all my labels and everything on it. Sorry about the flare out, but there's so much light here. I've got half them turned off. So all this is done, and all ready and raring to go. There we go. That does look a bit more tricky and nicer, much more better alike, as they say. Shame there's a few scratches on the actual, a few little wear marks on the lens, but on the front decal. But anyway, it is what it is. Oh, there we are. Okie doke. This is part 4, or the end of part 4. I shall be back with the Ham2 rotator on its rebuild and upgrade to suit this, of course. I'll catch you next video. Bye.